A single blink. That was all it took. For years, people have replayed one strange moment from the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, convinced they spotted something the cameras were never meant to catch. It lasted only seconds. There was no dramatic music. No slow-motion replay. The show simply kept going, almost as if nothing had happened. Yet decades later, viewers are still pausing the footage, looking frame by frame, asking the same question. Was that really left in on purpose, or did everyone somehow miss it? In an age before digital editing, television was a different world. Variety shows were fast, unpredictable, and often performed under enormous pressure. A missed line, a broken prop, or an unexpected reaction could become part of the broadcast forever. Sometimes those mistakes disappeared into history. Other times, they became legendary. Few shows captured that excitement better than the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. Hosted by brothers Tom and Dick Smothers, the program mixed music, comedy, and sharp social satire in ways that stood out from almost everything else on television during the late 1960s. While audiences laughed at the jokes, the production team worked behind the scenes to keep every sketch running smoothly. But live entertainment rarely follows the script perfectly. Then came one unforgettable scene. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary comedy sketch. The timing seems perfect, the audience laughs on cue, and everyone appears completely in control. But watch carefully. One unexpected mistake slips through. The performers react in a way that feels completely genuine, and because the moment happens so naturally, many viewers never notice it the first time. Others noticed immediately. Over the years, fans have debated exactly what happened in that brief exchange. Some online posts have made dramatic claims, suggesting hidden meanings or secret production errors. However, there is no credible evidence supporting many of those theories. What is confirmed is that the show often embraced spontaneous moments, and not every small mistake was removed before broadcast. That authenticity became part of its charm. Before we uncover what really happened in that famous blooper, and why it still fascinates viewers today, we first need to understand how two brothers with guitars transformed American television in ways few comedians ever have. What do you think makes an old TV blooper so memorable? Was it the mistake itself, or the genuine reaction that followed? Share your thoughts in the comments. Long before people were replaying that famous blooper, Tom and Dick Smothers had already done something few comedians could do. They made millions of people laugh while also making them think. The brothers started as folk musicians in the late 1950s. Their act looked simple at first. Tom played the part of the slightly confused older brother, while Dick acted as the calm, patient younger brother who tried to keep everything on track. Their playful arguments became their trademark, and audiences loved the chemistry because it felt natural rather than rehearsed. As their popularity grew, television networks took notice. In 1967, CBS launched the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. On paper, it looked like another variety show filled with comedy sketches, celebrity guests, and musical performances. But it quickly became much more than that. Each week, the show mixed light-hearted jokes with clever satire. It invited popular musicians, rising comedians, and respected actors to share the stage. Viewers never knew exactly what they would see next, and that sense of surprise became one of the show's biggest strengths. Yet the real story was happening behind the cameras. America was changing rapidly during the late 1960s. The Vietnam War, civil rights movement, and political protests were dominating the headlines. While many television programs avoided controversial subjects, the Smothers Brothers often pushed the boundaries of what could be said on network TV. That decision earned them loyal fans. It also created powerful enemies. CBS executives frequently reviewed scripts before episodes aired. Certain jokes were questioned. Some sketches were rewritten. Others were removed altogether. According to interviews with the Smothers Brothers and accounts from people involved with the production, disagreements over creative control became more common as the show grew bolder. But despite the growing tension, the brothers refused to abandon the style that had made them successful. Their determination gave the show an energy that audiences could feel. Every episode carried a sense that anything might happen. A joke could go in an unexpected direction. A guest might improvise. A performer could break character. Instead of feeling like mistakes, these moments often made the show feel more honest and alive. That atmosphere also explains why certain bloopers survived. Unlike modern productions, television editing in the 1960s was far more limited. While pre-recorded segments could be trimmed before broadcast, not every small mistake was worth removing. Sometimes the funniest reaction came after something went wrong, and producers chose to leave it exactly as it happened because it made the performance feel genuine. Many viewers never realized they were watching history unfold in real time. The show's fearless approach eventually led to a highly publicized conflict with CBS, which canceled the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour in 1969 after months of disputes over content and scheduling. The cancellation itself became one of television's most famous controversies, reinforcing the brothers' reputation as entertainers willing to challenge the limits of network television. But even after the cameras stopped rolling, one small on-screen moment continued to capture viewers' attention. And when fans looked closer, they realized the blooper wasn't just funny, it revealed exactly what made the Smothers Brothers so unforgettable. If you're enjoying stories like this, subscribe now because the biggest twist is still ahead. By now, you might be wondering what made this particular scene so special. After all, television bloopers happen all the time. A performer forgets a line. Someone enters from the wrong side of the stage. A prop falls apart. Most of these moments are funny for a few seconds and then quickly forgotten. This one was different. The scene begins like any other on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. The performers know their timing. The audience is relaxed. The jokes are landing exactly as planned. Nothing seems unusual. Then, in a split second, something goes off script. Depending on which recording people watch today, viewers often point to a brief reaction that doesn't seem planned. It might be a performer struggling to hide a laugh, an unexpected pause, or someone responding to an unplanned mistake instead of continuing as rehearsed. The remarkable part isn't the mistake itself. It's what happened next. Instead of stopping the scene, the cast simply kept going. No one called for another take. No obvious attempt was made to erase the moment. The audience laughed, the performance continued, and the show moved on. That tiny decision is one reason the clip still feels fresh decades later. In today's world, even small errors are often edited out before anyone sees them. Camera angles change. Audio is cleaned up. Multiple takes allow directors to replace almost any mistake. But television in the late 1960s worked differently. Producing a weekly variety show was an enormous challenge. Writers, musicians, actors, stage crews, camera operators, and producers all had to work together under tight deadlines. With so many moving parts, small mistakes were almost unavoidable. The Smothers Brothers understood something important. Sometimes the audience enjoyed those unscripted moments more than the perfect performance. That genuine feeling became part of the show's identity. Over the years, however, the internet added another layer to the story. Video sharing websites and social media helped introduce the clip to a new generation. As it spread, dramatic titles began appearing alongside it. Some claimed the scene exposed a shocking production secret. Others insisted it revealed a hidden message. A few even suggested the network accidentally aired footage that was never supposed to be seen. Those claims certainly attract clicks. But the available evidence tells a simpler story. No credible interviews, production records, or statements from people involved with the show have confirmed any grand conspiracy surrounding this particular blooper. Most television historians describe it as exactly what it appears to be, a genuine unscripted moment that survived because the performers handled it so naturally. Ironically, that ordinary explanation may be even more impressive. It reminds us how skilled the cast really was. When something unexpected happened, they didn't panic. They adapted. They stayed in character. They trusted each other. And the audience rewarded them with laughter that couldn't have been scripted. That ability separated experienced entertainers from everyone else. Still, one question remained. If the blooper itself wasn't a scandal, why has it survived while thousands of other television mistakes have faded into history? The answer has less to do with the scene itself, and far more to do with the extraordinary battle taking place behind the scenes, where the Smothers Brothers were fighting for creative freedom against one of America's biggest television networks. By the time that famous blooper aired, the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour was already walking a very thin line. Most viewers only saw the finished show. They saw the laughter, the music, and the celebrity guests. What they didn't see were the long meetings, the script reviews, and the constant arguments happening behind closed doors. Every episode was becoming a battle. Tom and Dick Smothers wanted to create a show that reflected the world around them. They believed comedy could do more than entertain. It could ask difficult questions. It could challenge powerful people. It could make audiences laugh while also making them think. Not everyone agreed. CBS executives worried that some jokes went too far. The network was under pressure from advertisers, affiliates, and viewers who believed television should stay away from controversial topics. As a result, many sketches were carefully reviewed before they reached the screen. Sometimes a joke was rewritten. Sometimes an entire segment disappeared. According to interviews given by Tom Smothers over the years, there were occasions when changes were requested only days, or even hours, before an episode was scheduled to air. That created enormous pressure for everyone involved. Imagine rehearsing a performance all week, only to learn at the last minute that key lines had to be changed. That was the reality for the cast and crew. But that pressure also produced something unexpected. The performers became incredibly quick on their feet. If a line changed, they adjusted. If a prop failed, they improvised. If someone missed a cue, another performer stepped in without breaking the flow. Those skills didn't happen by accident. They came from experience, trust, and countless hours of rehearsal. And then there was the challenge of live television. Unlike today's productions, directors couldn't instantly erase every mistake with digital technology. Camera operators had to anticipate where the action would move next. Lighting crews had only seconds to react. Musicians had to stay perfectly in sync, even if a sketch suddenly took an unexpected turn. One small error could affect everyone. Yet somehow, the show usually kept moving. That is one reason those rare bloopers feel so special today. They reveal the human side of television. Instead of polished perfection, viewers saw real people solving real problems in real time. Ironically, those unscripted moments often made audiences trust the show even more. The laughter sounded genuine because it was. The surprised expressions weren't acting. They were real reactions. Meanwhile, the conflict with CBS continued to grow. One of the most famous examples involved singer Harry Belafonte, whose performance of Lord, Don't Stop the Carnival included footage related to the Vietnam War. CBS delayed and edited portions of the episode, leading to further disputes over editorial control. Incidents like this strengthened the brothers' belief that creative freedom was being limited. The disagreements eventually reached a breaking point. In 1969, CBS canceled the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. The decision sparked public debate, and years later, many television historians would point to the series as a landmark in the ongoing discussion about free expression on network television. For many fans, the cancellation felt like the end of an era. But it wasn't the end of the brothers' story. In fact, something remarkable happened over the decades that followed. The show refused to disappear. Classic episodes were rebroadcast. Home video collections introduced new audiences to the series. Then came the internet, where short clips, especially that famous blooper, found millions of new viewers who had never watched the original broadcasts. A scene that once lasted only a few unforgettable seconds suddenly had a second life. And with every new generation that discovered it, the same question returned. Why does this tiny mistake still feel so unforgettable after all these years? The answer isn't just about the blooper. It's about the legacy the Smothers Brothers left behind, and why their influence on comedy and television continues to be felt even today. Have you ever had one unexpected moment completely change how people remembered your work or your life? Share your story in the comments. More than half a century has passed since the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour first aired. Television has changed almost beyond recognition. Today's shows are filmed with ultra-high-definition cameras. Editors can remove mistakes in seconds. Visual effects can fix problems that audiences never even know existed. If something goes wrong, another take is usually just a few minutes away. But in the late 1960s, things were different. What happened in front of the camera often became part of television history forever. That is one reason the famous Smothers Brothers blooper continues to capture people's attention. It reminds us of a time when entertainment felt less polished but, in many ways, more real. The mistake itself may have lasted only a moment. Its impact has lasted for generations. One reason is that the clip perfectly reflects what made the Smothers Brothers special. Tom and Dick never tried to look perfect. They built their comedy around honest reactions, playful arguments, and moments that felt spontaneous. Even when everything was carefully rehearsed, they wanted audiences to believe they were simply watching two brothers having fun together. That authenticity became their greatest strength. Viewers felt like they knew them. And when something unexpected happened on camera, it didn't ruin the illusion. It strengthened it. The blooper also reminds us of the incredible skill behind live performance. When something went wrong, nobody froze. Nobody looked at the camera for help. Nobody stopped the show. Instead, experienced performers relied on instinct. They listened to one another. They adjusted in real time. Within seconds, they had turned a small mistake into another laugh. That ability cannot be created with editing software. It comes only from years of experience. As classic television found new life online, younger audiences began discovering the Smothers Brothers for the first time. Many viewers clicked on the famous clip expecting to uncover a shocking secret because of dramatic video titles or social media posts. Instead, they found something much more valuable. They found proof that genuine entertainment doesn't always need perfection. In fact, many fans now say the blooper makes them appreciate the show even more. It captures a rare kind of honesty that feels refreshing in an era where almost everything can be edited, filtered, or digitally corrected. The internet also helped preserve the brothers' broader legacy. People who arrived to watch one funny mistake often stayed to explore the rest of the series. They discovered the sharp writing, memorable musical guests, and fearless comedy that challenged television norms. Historians continue to recognize the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour as one of the most influential variety shows of its era, not because of a single blooper, but because it proved comedy could be both entertaining and meaningful. Looking back today, it's clear that the show's greatest achievement wasn't simply making people laugh. It encouraged audiences to pay attention, to question, to think, and sometimes, to laugh at life's imperfections. Perhaps that's why this tiny, unedited moment refuses to disappear. It isn't famous because it exposed a hidden scandal. It isn't remembered because it revealed a secret conspiracy. It's remembered because it captured something that can't be rehearsed, a real human reaction. In a world filled with polished performances, that authenticity is surprisingly rare. And maybe that's exactly what keeps people pressing the replay button. The next time you watch that famous scene, don't just look for the mistake. Look at the smiles that follow. Watch how the performers support one another without saying a word. Notice how the audience responds with genuine laughter instead of confusion. Those few seconds tell a much bigger story than any editing trick ever could. They remind us that some of television's most unforgettable moments happen when everything doesn't go according to plan. And sometimes, those imperfect moments become the ones we remember forever. If this story changed the way you look at classic television, there's another remarkable tale waiting just around the corner. One that proves the biggest moments in entertainment history often happen when no one expects them.